Now it's time for And the Winner is Motorsports Show, a production of the ETV Live Auto Sports Entertainment Network. Get ready for 2 fun-filled hours of racing dialogue, race results, commentary from drivers, promoters, sponsors, media dignitaries, and much, much more. And now, the racing devil, Mike Neff, and the ringmaster of motorsports, Wesley Outland. This is
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Monday night, September 24th edition of And the Winner is Motorsports Show. As always, it is a proud presentation and broadcast and production of the ETV Live Online Auto Sports Entertainment Network. I am the recovering Wesley Outland, coming from the 24 hours of Thunder Mountain over the weekend from West Virginia. I do have a little sniffle cold. I think the allergies have got to me, but we are ready to rock and roll. Welcome to the program. As always, ring the bell, magic fingers, or should we call him John Fast Track Wesley now? Let's get this thing started. And as always, from Kannapolis, North Carolina, the racing devil, Mike Neff, is in the house. How you been, my friend?
I'm doing pretty good, brother. How's things treating you?
Oh, my God. Don't I sound horrible?
You sound good.
I sound like the duck. I sound like that
Aflac duck?
Aflac!
I don't think you're quite that bad.
I want to bring J.D. Webb in here, our executive producer, real quickly. J.D. Webb will be joining me here on the program. J.D., we tried to do we successfully accomplished what was the longest ever broadcast in the history of ETV Live Online Auto Sports Entertainment Network. I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing, but we surely had a great time at Thunder Mountain Speedway on Saturday night, didn't we, buddy?
Yeah, you bet. I'll tell you what, that was absolutely a record setter for ETV Live. The absolute longest period of time that we have ever consecutively broadcasted or consistently broadcasted one show. But I'll tell you what, we got a lot more fans out in Hanover, West Virginia. It was a lot of fun listening to them cheer to the ETV Live guys here on the radio, and it was a lot of fun.
Absolutely, it was an awesome, awesome, experience, and I got to give a big thank you to my buddy from Midlothian, Virginia, Russ Wiles, for coming in and working the program with me. We had a great time. It was great racing, even though it turned out to be an all-nighter. Didn't finish up. I didn't leave that racetrack till 4:30 in the morning, Mike Neff. Sometimes I actually like that.
It's dirt racing, brother. You know how that goes. I told you before, there's been at least 2 times that I've come home from Cherokee Speedway watching the sunrise.
Absolutely.
It's that dirt mentality. It's a different mindset when you go to the racetrack.
What'd you do this weekend? I heard you went to the fair and got big and fat on corn dogs.
Dude, I didn't eat anything at the fair, and God love them. I don't want to badmouth them, but the Rowan County Fair is probably the worst fair I've ever been to in my life. It was just, and I'm probably spoiled because, as most of you know, I'm from the Midwest, and we take our fairs really serious in the Midwest.
Absolutely.
But this thing, for lack of a better term, it was like in some guy's backyard. There's like 2 sheds that have some animals' pens in them. And there's another slightly bigger building that they called an exhibit hall that I guess is an exhibit hall. And on one end, it's got a dirt floor exhibition area where they parade the animals through. And the other side, they had the stuff, clothes and flowers and canned vegetables and all that kind of stuff. But there wasn't very much of it. And I don't know. I was unimpressed, to say the least. But, hey, we were there. We had a good time. And I'm still looking forward. I'm going to try and get up to the state fair one of these days just to see what a state fair is like down here. Because growing up, I worked at the Indiana State Fair, and it was a big time to do.
Absolutely. And we're going to bring in our first guest. We apologize coming on the air a little bit late. We had something that we call in Radio Land tech difficulties, but we got it figured out. And we are now going to hook up on our phone line to our first guest, and this gentleman that I am getting ready to bring on the program is a very, very, very well-respected individual in the broadcast world. From everything he has done with ESPN, ABC, the Indianapolis 500, you name it, he's done it. I'll talk a little IndyCar racing. Going to talk about his racetrack as well. Stafford Motor Speedway. Coming up here in just a moment, Jack Arute will be joining us here on the broadcast. We had him scheduled for 6 o'clock, and we're trying to get him a ring here now. So we'll get him lined up here, get him on the show, and we'll make it happen. We'll try to give him a holler here one more time. I just called him on his house number. I think maybe I'm going to try to call him by cell because I do know he had to be mobile, getting ready to leave to go to the racetrack. But, man, I remember watching Jack Arute as an announcer when I was a kid, Mike.
Oh, me too. I mean, I don't know about as a kid, but at least as a teenager, I remember Jack Arute being in the pits. If I'm not mistaken, I think he may be the first pit reporter to wear a fire suit. We'll have to ask him about that, but I believe he may have been the first pit reporter or one of the very first pit reporters to wear a fire suit. Because I think, I'm not mistaken, I'm trying to remember when Rick Mears got burned at Indy. Golly, I want to say it was like 80. Well, he won in 84.
Right.
I want to say maybe it was 87. They had that bad pit fire and Rick Mears got burned. And I believe after that was when they decided pit reporters should wear fire suits. Now I think it's more just for decoration, but at the time I think it really was a safety concern.
Right, absolutely. Well, we'll find out here in a minute because we are getting him lined up to be on the program, Jack Arute. And, of course, as I said, I had him scheduled lined up to be on at 6 o'clock, and we had some things going on, and we couldn't, we didn't get on the air in time. We apologize for that, but we still got a great show lined out. And I am Mike Neff. Strike three, you're out. No matter who you are.
I know how you are.
And Blaney last weekend.
And believe it or not, Kyle Strickler's actually ready this time. So,
yeah, Kyle Strickler. I always talk about him, and Kyle Larson too. And I understand that you got Kyle Larson lined up also.
We got Larson lined up. We've pushed him back just a little bit. Turns out he was at dinner when he was supposed to be on, so we've pushed him back to the end of the show. We got Kyle Strickler's ready to go now. We've also got Johnny Van Doren, who won the CRA race at Winchester this weekend.
Wild race. I heard that was a wild race between him and Jeff Foltz, drag racing to the finish line of the last lap in Winchester, Indiana on Sunday.
Yeah, and I hated to hear, I was able to get his contact info through Daniel Hemrick. Hated to hear that friend of the show, Hemrick, actually broke a lower control arm.
Oh, man.
At Winchester, which is probably the last place you want to have something like that happen, and pretty much tore the wall down, and so he did not get to even start the race.
Yeah, didn't he get on his roof too? Because I saw some photos of that race. Was he the car that got airborne?
I don't think so. Because he did it in practice, unless they were showing a practice video. It was before the race ever even started.
Absolutely. We're going to try to call Jack Arute one more time, and if not, we'll just have to reschedule with him. And, again, it's our fault because we had him lined up for 6 o'clock at the top of the hour. But we still have a great guest of talent on. Lee Pulliam, NASCAR World All-American Series champion, is going to be on. Kyle Larson, winner at the Big E Outdoor Speedway, part of the Four Crown Nationals. He's going to be on the UMP Four Crown Nationals. Also, he won the K&N NASCAR race at New Hampshire on Saturday.
He won the K&N East race Saturday afternoon and won the midget race at Eldora Saturday night.
Absolutely.
And then about got killed.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that. And
holy cow. That was scary.
Well, anytime you hit the wall at Eldora, it's never fun.
Well, not only did he hit the wall and barrel rolled down a backstretch, but he came to a stop, and then a car came up and hit him.
Well, I'm glad he's okay. We can have him on the show tonight.
Me too.
Back. All right, Jack Arute's out. We gave him
Peace out.
3 strikes and everything, and of course it's my fault. So I'll get up with Jack Arute, and we'll talk IndyCar racing in Stafford Motor Speedway. He's got a racetrack, guys, for 43 years. He's been running that place, Stafford Motor Speedway in Stafford, Connecticut.
I did not realize that Jack Arute was the one running that place. I know Stafford's been around forever.
Yes, him and his.
I did not know it was Jack's deal.
Yes.
Cool.
We had I talked with him last Wednesday, I think it was, on the phone for like 30 minutes, man. We just chatted it up, talking about racing and NASCAR and IndyCar racing and everything else you could think of. I mean, it was really, really a It was a good show. I mean, I really
Nice.
you could think talking with them about everything involved with it. I want to bring in my our other guests, our other partner in crime, and we did have some tech issues on his end. Hopefully, we've got it all resolved now. But I want to give him a shout out. Justin Rose now from Michigan. He is our Midwest Racing our Midwest Racing reporter. He's also now going to be joining us every Monday from now on. But we did have a little tech issues. We've got hopefully it all resolved. Justin, how exciting was the down and dirty 100 at Berlin Raceway before we go to commercial break? Where for the first time ever in 50 plus years they put dirt on Berlin Raceway.
It's actually about 47 years, Wesley, and it was a really, really great race. What more could you ask for a pavement track throwing down the dirt? Darrell Lanigan makes a lap 95 pass on Billy Moyer. Billy Moyer led laps 1 through 95, and Darrell Lanigan, he gets it done, only leading the last couple laps, which he needs to in order to get the win. Lots and lots of passing all across the track, and at one point, Darrell Lanigan actually fell almost outside the top 10 at that point, so he made one heck of a run, Wesley.
Absolutely, and it definitely was. It definitely was an exciting event, of course, for the World of Outlaw late model series to make its a return trip out there to that racetrack. And Justin, you were at that event. Talk about the atmosphere, and just was everybody anticipating a super great show? And I know also weather came into play that weekend, also this past Saturday at Berlin Raceway.
Yes, Mother Nature won Friday night's events, and Mother Nature claimed all the rest of them but the Outlaw feature itself and Saturday night. But the anticipation was very, very thick in the air, Wesley. It was almost a sellout crowd of around 11,000 people showing up to watch the World Outlaw Late Model Series. Every single person that was there, young and old, they were excited to see something different at Berlin, which I just was also reading on Facebook today, Wesley, that Berlin's actually going to run another set of dirt races this coming weekend, too, at Berlin Raceway.
So they're going to run another racing program, not with the World of Outlaws, obviously, but they're going to basically try to make it up for the people that basically didn't get to race over the weekend, pretty much. They're going to do another racing show.
They're going to run a full show of all classes, late models, modifieds, street stocks, you name it. They're going to run it this Friday night at Berlin Raceway.
That's awesome. Mike?
That is very cool. I mean, you can't blame them. You go through that much effort to put 300 truckloads of dirt down on your racetrack. You might as well get a couple uses out of it before you have to clean it up and hose it all off. So I don't blame them for wanting to run another show. It'd be cool. I'm actually trying to check the schedule right now, but I'm pretty sure they're booked up. But it would have been cool if they could grab the World of Outlaw sprint cars since they got rained out at Eldora on Friday night. It would have been a nice change of pace to have them run up with the winged sprint cars up there, too. That would have been neat to see.
I certainly believe so. There's a lot of folks up here, Mike, that are certainly calling for the World Outlaw Sprint Car Series to run at Berlin. I certainly believe it would be a very, very interesting race considering that the track is just really a large circle. I mean, there really is no really defined straightaway on that racetrack, really, except for probably about 200 feet on the front stretch where the outside wall goes straight. But, most definitely, it certainly still looks like a dirt track. And as Ryan Blaney said last week here on the And the Winners Motorsports Show, he said the backstretch gets to be dirt by the end of the night anyway when they're running on the pavement. So, I'm very, very excited to see what happens this coming weekend. And it was a very, very exciting outlaw race this weekend. Wesley, I mean, what more could you really ask for? And to boot, Darrell Lanigan said in his victory interview that they should do this to pavement tracks all the time.
And you know what really gets me is, everybody talks about the economy and the gas prices, and yes, they suck. Don't get me wrong. I think everybody will raise their hand in agreement in the classroom and say, yes, ring the bell, John Wesley, and you'll agree with me on that. But to have 11,000 people, that's a bigger crowd than the ARCA races have there whenever they come there a couple of times a year.
Most definitely. I mean, everybody knows dirt racing tends to be more exciting. You got the high line, you got the low line. Usually, at most pavement tracks, it's just single file all the way back to the field, a lot of bumping, a lot of rubbing to get around the guy in front of you. But in dirt racing, there's always that next lane that's available. So, I mean, who's gonna turn down 3-wide racing at a track that's normally single file? I mean, really, Wesley. I mean, wouldn't that what you like to see every weekend? Is 3-wide racing for the lead all the time?
Oh yeah, no doubt whatsoever. And
unless you're the NASCAR fans at Bristol, then you want a single file with people wrecking each other all the time.
Absolutely. And that's like the race at Thunder Mountain. JD Webb, chime back in here if you want to, boss man, because you were kind of command central throughout the weekend while me and Russ Wiles broadcast the race at Thunder Mountain. The racing was exciting. It just become a very prolonged event. But, tell everybody that are tuning into the show that we did not lose any of our our listeners. None. I mean, they were ready to hear that super late model race start, whether it's crate late models for the fast track cars or even the modifieds. We're doing a broadcast at 12:30 at night, JD, and nobody in the broadcast stream left.
You're right, Wesley. We fired up about, I think it was about 7:30 that evening, Eastern time, of course. And, folks like Emily Johnson in the house, John Kennedy, Jen, just to name a few. I mean, they were already logged in waiting for the show. We had a good amount of listeners tuned in, and they stayed with us all the way until about 2 o'clock in the morning when it just, got too cold and it was getting too late for a lot of folks. But, the fans are really something. I know how they love this sport. I've been there and done that myself on occasion. And even the fan response, when you hollered out there to them there in Hanover at Thunder Mountain, with ATV Live and the cheers that we got from them. I mean, it's certainly a fan-based program, fan-based show. And we certainly appreciate all of them sticking with us throughout the whole night.
Absolutely. Of course, Jackaroo is now out, so we'll get our next guest on the program. Justin, do not go anywhere. Coming up, we'll take a look at race results going on around the country. We're going to have to speed things up because we've got some great talent on. Kyle Strickler, Kyle Larson, they make up the two Kyles. Johnny Van Dorn, Lee Pulliam, Brandon Shepard. Did we get him locked up, Mike?
Actually, now you mentioned it, I think we did. I forgot all about him.
For driver of the house car for the World of Outlaw late models. And, of course, scratch out Jackaroo. We'll get him on next Monday. That's on my fault. Let's go to the phone lines. Finally on the line out of Morrisville, North Carolina. It's been a while. The high side tickler, Kyle Strickler. How are you, my friend?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Awesome, man. I tell you what, you've been rip-roaring and tearing down the East Coast and all over the country, for that matter, winning modified races or putting some money in your pocket. Talk about it.
Yeah, the last couple of weeks here have been really, really good. We, my team and I, we put together a brand new car from Harris, and 2013, and we went out to Super Nationals and had a really good week out there, fast all week long, and ended up winning the qualifying night and starting on the front row and leading the first part of the race, and then just got a little too free towards the end and brought home a third-place finish. But with the amount of cars to go out there and to bring home a top three is pretty good. I think they had 278 cars or something to show up for in our division, and then once we got back home, we won everything we gone to. I think we had 6 races, including Super Nationals, and we won 5 of them and finished third out there. So just really proud of my team and all my guys on the piece that we put together, and been able to knock down a bunch of wins in a row here.
Now, I've got a question, because a couple of weeks ago we had Jeff Taylor on. Mike was able to put that together, the winner of the IMCA Super Nationals at Boone Speedway in Boone, Iowa. You finished in the top 3. What is your thoughts about winning $2,000, getting a big check, getting the kiss from the trophy girl? Oh, and by the way, we're tearing your motor down and being sold in auction.
They don't tear it down, they just take it.
Oh, they take it, okay. Well, it's got to come out of the car one damn way or the other.
Yeah, they just pretty much take it. It's that's part of the deal. Going in, it has gotten better. It used to be the top 4, and then everybody started wrecking each other for 5th because nobody wanted to lose their motor. So coming to the checker, it'd be a race to see who could drop back, and if you weren't going to win the thing, you'd drop back to 5th, and you'd make more money. But now they got it that they just take just the winner's motor. But still, I think Jeff had told somebody that motor was a $16,000 motor that he won Super Nationals with, and I think it went for $6,400 or somewhere around there at the auction, and then they put that money back through the purse, so it gets $6,400 gets divided between 33 guys, and that's what you get. So it's kind of a bad deal for your motor, but the exposure you get and the things you get for winning that deal pretty much outweigh the loss of a motor, and that's still the biggest race that I've ever been to as far as car counts. You don't ever hear anything car counts of around 300 numbers, showing up to make a race, especially when it only pays, I think, $2,500 or $3,000 cash, and the rest is all contingency.
Yeah, now doesn't that kind of, I guess, don't you get engine builders that are willing to do a deal with drivers if they think they're going to have a chance to win it, just so they can say that they built that motor, so that they end up having that, that on their resume, that they built the winning motor for the Nationals?
Even, we actually have a deal with Wide Open Race Engines out of Iowa. Scott Olson, he takes care of me every time I go out to Iowa, and he gives me a motor to run in my car, and it's been a really good relationship between me and him, and we actually talked after the race, and I said, man, I really wanted to win this thing, and he said, I think we did pretty good, because the top three finish, we still get a lot of exposure, and we don't lose that motor, and he still gets to take a motor home, because pretty much it's his motor, and I wouldn't have any loss in it, and it would be all out of his pocket. So if we would have won the thing, it would have been, me getting all the glory in his motor. His motor would be sold at auction, but he still does get a lot of business from it. That's a huge deal out there when people see whatever you got on your race car, whether it be just a small part down to a chassis or a motor. Everybody looks at your stuff after you win, and it draws a lot of business to the people you have to help you out.
Justin, right now, you got any questions for the high side tickler, Kyle Strickler?
What's really the climate like, going into the AMCA Super Nationals there? And you're saying guys, losing motors. Is it really something you really want to think ahead of time if you got a shot to win? Is it really, really, truly worth all that recognition and fame of winning the Super Nationals to lose your motor and not get nothing for it hardly?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, there's a lot of. I would say I'd like to see how many numbers of people actually show up going that know they're not going to win. How many people actually go there expecting to win and willing to lose their motor if they win. Because I'd say that with 300 cars showing up, or right under 300 cars showing up, that I'm sure there's a bunch of guys that know that they really don't have a shot at winning. And if they make the show and they can run decent, that's a huge plus for them. But most of the guys that are going to have a shot at it usually have some sort of a deal, and the bonus of winning and all the reward far outweigh the risk. And I mean, if it wasn't working for them, they wouldn't have that many cars show up. But I mean, if you put it on paper, if you wrote down what it costs you to go out there and what you win on paper, it looks terrible. So it's kind of funny to see how many people show up, because I mean they have 5,000 to win shows around here. It pays way more in Super Nationals, and we get 30 cars, 40 cars show up, and it's a way better deal. It's just it's if you go out there and experience Super National one time, I'll tell you, you'll be hooked. And it's just kind of, they call it the racing vacation, and that's what people go out there and spend all week out there for.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, Kyle, how do you prepare for something? Because Jeff Taylor says, well, Wesley, basically, guys, you go out there and you're locked in for a heat. You run your heat race, and if you make the damn A-main, you have nothing else to do for the week but drink and party, drink beer, or go do-si-do dancing or whatever. Play cornhole. What do you do?
Oh, it's definitely a week-long party out there for sure. There's just so many people from so many different walks of life and parts of the country, and everybody kind of just comes in for that week. It's a huge week for the town of Boone, and the people that it draws to that, it's definitely an awesome time. You meet so many new people, and my biggest thing is trying to keep up with T-shirt sales and keeping all my fans happy and keeping all the people that support me happy too, because I have so many people that throughout the year that help me, whether it be product sponsors or whatever, and then so many fans that I meet when I go out there that the need for T-shirts and my apparel is just crazy out there. It far exceeds everywhere else in the country, and we make more in T-shirt sales in 1 week than we do racing that whole week by far, and that's kind of how what you kind of do. You just go up there. If you get locked in on an early night, then you just kind of hang out and talk to everybody and meet everybody and kind of wine and dine the people you need to take care of. And it definitely, if like I said, if you look at it on paper, it's terrible. But if you go out there and you see how much benefit you get from it, I promise you that people will go back next year.
What is your all-time favorite track to go race at on the modified tour, or anywhere for that matter? I mean, you were the NDRA modified champion last year, and of course, the only NDRA mods champion because they didn't even do a touring program this year. But you travel all over racing modifieds. What is your favorite track to race the modifieds at?
I'd probably say that the two places that I really like, one is would be the dirt track of Charlotte. We won that NDRA race there last year, and that was just that was awesome to win on that stage there. You know, you have a lot of people from that know me from around home. They go to that race, and a lot of my people that work in NASCAR and stuff come out and see that. They don't get to see me race a lot, and it was awesome to win there. That's just a top-notch facility, and I'd say Knoxville. When we won the Harris Clash in Knoxville, Iowa, that was just the winner circle there is second to none. It's just it's kind of a big winter circle that wraps around you, and you just look up and you see that, you know, Knoxville Raceway across the press booth, and you realize that you just won at one of the most historical racetracks in the country. And we go really good there, and we kind of just went out and dominated there this year, and it was awesome to go out of my kind of comfort zone, because that's, you know, we only race maybe 3 or 4 IMCA races a year, and to go out and compete with them guys and beat them like we did, that was awesome for us.
Yeah, and of course, Iowa Speedway in Knoxville, Iowa, Knoxville Raceway will be getting ready for the late model nationals this weekend, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Thursday and Friday, 7,000 to win. They are sanctioned by the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series. It's the Lucas Oil Knoxville Nationals, 7,000 to win on Thursday and Friday, and then on Saturday night, Mike Neff, $40,000 to the winner, and that is, of course. Now, to me, there's always the Knoxville Nationals for the sprint cars, but for the last couple of years now, they've kind of adapted the late model Knoxville Nationals, and that's what's going on at Knoxville Raceway this weekend.
Yeah, man. They'd only pay points for the last night. I still don't fully understand that deal. But
yeah, I don't get that.
It's all good. Kyle, I got a question for you. You won twice this past weekend. How many does that give you for the year?
We picked up our 30th win on the season, which is just amazing for myself and my guys. That was our goal for the year, to pick up 30, and we came close in years past. I had 23 2 years ago, and then 18 last year, and this year we're at 30, and we still got a few more races to go. But just to, you know, if you 30 is awesome enough, but if you look at where we won and what we won, that's what really impresses me. We've traveled all over the country. We've won, you know, Florida and Iowa and Virginia, West Virginia, and North Carolina, South Carolina, just the states that we've won in different sanctioning bodies that we've won in. You know, it's not like we're just running one rule package. We kind of travel all over, and there's just so many differences in the cars, as far as body rules and motor rules and tire rules and all that stuff. And for us to be successful at all of the sanctioning bodies we go visit, really speaks volumes about my team and how hard my guys work and how hard we all work to get the car good all over the country.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's not like you're running against 5 cars either. I mean, you're out there running against some of the biggest modified fields going. How many total races have you run this year?
I think that was our 55th or 56th race of the season. So
that's a pretty good average, bro.
It might be a little bit closer to 60. I know that Boone was I think Boone was 51 or 52. So we're right around 60. But we had it figured out that pretty much every other time we go on the racetrack, we win. So it's a pretty good track record.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Let's start the Race Central in California. Our executive producer, J.D. Webb, has a question for the High Side Hustler, Kyle Strickler. The High Side Tickler, Kyle Strickler. Damn it! I had the High Side Hustler.
You were doing really good. I was proud of you.
So damn good. I had the High Side Hustler, Jason Fager, on last Monday night, winning the Prairie Dirt Classic. Now I've got the dang High Side Tickler and my good buddy Kyle Strickler on. Get his damn name mixed up. J.D. Webb, save me here. Ask his question.
Hey, Kyle, JD out here in California. You know, I'm quickly becoming a dirt racing fan of all kinds, sprint car, late model, what have you. Been a NASCAR fan for a lot of years. However, I got to tell you, man, when Winston Cup went south and this newfangled stuff took over, NASCAR racing to me has become extremely boring. In fact, I don't even watch it. I didn't even watch the race at New Hampshire. You know, and it's because of rules. They got rules for this, rules for that. Don't do this, don't do that. You can't put a wrench to this or that or anything else. Is it the same with these, with late model sprint car, all this dirt racing stuff? I mean, do the rules hamper the competition?
No, I mean they do, but it's not near as close. And I was just talking with a bunch of my buddies that still work in the NASCAR industry, and a lot of them are fabricators, because that's what I did when I worked in that industry, and it's actually really frustrating to them guys. So the guys that take their jobs seriously and really think about what they can do to gain an advantage on the competition, they really have their hands tied now, and pretty much the cars they got now in the Cup Series are just kit cars. I mean, they get stamp parts, and they got kids putting them together, or guys that are just off the street putting them together. And they try to keep a lot of the engineering stuff is really where only the big teams can kind of gain an advantage on the smaller teams, is because it just costs them. Anytime they put a rule in place to try to save money, it seems like it ends up costing them more money. But as far
so
as
anybody can be a race car driver. All it takes is money.
yeah, exactly. It seems to be going that way now, and it's almost frustrating for a guy like myself or any kind of guys that move to this area. They've done well and haven't really got the opportunity, because you have people that are coming and dumping a boatload of money in these teams' laps. But that's just kind of the way it is right now, and you can't blame the team guys for doing it, because they're trying to make a dollar, and they're trying to keep their head above water. And if they have somebody come with them with a couple $1 million that is decent, I mean, they'd be stupid to not put them in when you have a guy that might have some talent that can't foot the bill. You know, it's just it's frustrating to see it head that direction. Thank God there is still some kids that are coming up through. They got a lot of talent and know the right people and are getting their opportunities. But right now we'll keep plugging along and see what kind of opportunities come my way.
Justin Rose, now you got a final question for Kyle Strickler before we let him go and we go to commercial break, buddy?
Kyle, what's your Yeah, sorry, I was having a little bit of trouble there with the headset.
It's okay, go ahead, buddy. We've had enough problems today. We'll be all right.
No, Kyle, I just wanted to know what your plans for next year is. Race season is coming to an end here in the Midwest area, especially out, Iowa, Wisconsin, etc.
We'll hit a few more shows here this year. We'll probably race until about the first week of November, and then we'll be done for the year, and then we'll start getting some cars built up. I got a lot of people interested in my stuff and buying my cars for next year, and having me build them cars for next year, and that stuff's going really well. So that's going to keep us busy through the off season. And next year we'll probably just do a lot of the same thing, just have our cars built up and try to hit some of the stuff in Florida in the beginning of the year, and then just try to chase the money more than we did even this year. We didn't really run for any points. I know there's going to be some sanctioning bodies that are trying to put some stuff together to try to get us to come run some more stuff. So hopefully everything works out. But we're just going to pretty much chase the money and hit some big shows and kind of do a lot more of what we did this year. And hopefully the wins keep on coming like they are now. Hey,
I've got a question to ask you before I let you go, Kyle. And if you're telling me it's hitting below the belt, that's fine, no problem. I can respect you from an announcer to a driver. But there is I mean, people try to make it out to be that there is a big rivalry between you and Nick the Thrill Hoffman. And Nick Hoffman has now put together his own modified chassis program, Elite Chassis. I've seen you guys go all over the country, bang fenders, bump bang, and race hard. But is there really a big deal between you and Nick Hoffman, or is it just good old damn hard racing when y'all guys get on the track?
Oh, I mean, it kind of started out. We kind of got along, and then we got to a point where we were racing with each other every week, and we were the two kind of standouts. And at one point in time, probably about 2 years ago, if we seen each other, there was going to be sparks flying. I can promise you that. And we hated each other,
Wow.
and that's just how it was. But we kind of come to terms now, and we still race with each other at some big shows, and I think Nick's gotten a little older and has gotten a lot more respect for me, and I've got a lot more respect for him from what he's trying to do, because he's not so much of a punk kid anymore. He's kind of learning about what his race cars do and how to work on them, how to make them go faster, and he's good. He's got a lot of talent, and his stuff goes really well. And now they kind of stepped out and did this new chassis deal, and I hope it works out well for him. We're still extremely competitive if we get side by side on the racetrack. We're definitely not going to lift for each other, and it makes for really, really good racing. And the kids got talent, and we go really well. So it works out good for the fans, but it's gotten a lot better. We've got a lot more respect for each other over the last few years than we used to have.
Absolutely, definitely. Well, buddy, before we let you go, throw out your sponsors. And, man, thank you, honestly, for answering that question, because I know a lot of people have kind of wondered that. Continued success for the rest of the year. And, man, I'll see you in November for the Victory Junction Game Camp event at County Line for $5,200 to win. I know that'll be an awesome race for you to try to bag.
Yeah, absolutely. We were good there last year. I had to start like 13th or something, and I came up through and ended up finishing third, and Nick actually finished second, and Schrader won the deal. So we're going to try to be even better this year. We've won pretty much all their big races this year, and we just won up there again on Saturday night, and that place is kind of quickly turning into one of my favorite places to go. But back to my sponsors here, we got so many people on this car. It's just helped us out so much. Actually, the Hope for Warriors that helped me out for Boone, Iowa, I think they're going to do another deal at that race for the kids, so that'll be
awesome.
Good. So
awesome.
We want to get their name out there. And obviously, Harris Auto Racing, this new car has just been absolutely awesome. And then we're selling them like I got a bunch of people putting orders in. So if anybody wants a modified, come look me up and we'll get you fixed up and get you a fast one. Tomcat Performance, he's done an awesome job for me here lately. He's just always there to help me out. BSB, that kind of sets us apart from everybody else. They're great for engineering and really building quality parts. Cook's Headers, they helped me out a bunch. Fast Shafts, Extreme Race Graphics, they did all my stuff here this year, and the cars always look really good. SRI and Stock Car Steel, Charlie Donaldson, Joe Bush Ag Repair, Joyous Seating, Wolfpack, don't want to leave them guys out. They helped me out a ton. FK Rod Ends, and I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody, but JRS Competition Finishes, he paints all my cars. But everybody that helps out on this team, they all know who they are. Definitely want to give a big shout-out to Brandon and Sean, my crew guys that are there by my side all the time, working on these things and making sure nothing falls off them. So I'm just really proud of my team and really looking forward to the last couple of races here this season.
Absolutely. High Side Tickler, Kyle Strickler on the program. And by the way, Steve Summerlin says he's tuned into the radio show tonight. A big hello to you, and he's looking forward to seeing you at County Line in November for that race.
Yep, I can't wait to get up there. Steve does an awesome job of promoting that place, and it's really grown over the years. And I hope they get over 50 cars for that show at the end of the year. And I know we'll be there. And I'm working a deal right now to bring my second car again with Danny Bone in it, or maybe somebody else. Danny did an awesome job this past weekend. He finished fourth both nights in my backup car, and he's never been to County Line before. So hopefully we'll have him a motor deal and can get both my cars up there for that end of the year race.
Well, buddy, you take care of yourself. We'll talk to you later.
All right, thank you. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, that is again the High Side Tickler. Finally, Mike Neff. Got him.
Good job.
Finally, got him on the show. Give him a round of applause. Kyle Strickler. Yes, sir. And you know what? I am so glad that he was down to earth, and he just point blank said, look, this is what's bothering me about Nick Hoffman. And Nick Hoffman will get him on the show, and he'll say, you know what, this is what's bothering me about Kyle Strickler. But the bottom line is, not taking nothing away from any of them, they are both hell of drivers. They do an awesome job, and they just put on one heck of a show for the fans when they bump and bang Mike Neff.
Well, yeah, because they're both, I mean, as modified drivers in the Southeast, they're two of the best. So when you get both of them on the track, I mean, it's draw whatever analogies you want. You know, Owens and Bloomquist going at it, or Swindell and Schatz, or Swindell and Kinzer going at it. I mean, they're at that level from the modified perspective in the Southeast. They're probably the two biggest names down here right now.
Absolutely, and we are going to take a quick break, and we are going to have to hustle, hustle, hustle. So when we get back on the air, guys, get ready to get on your power walking, because we've got Kyle Larson, Brandon Shepard, Johnny Van Dorn. We've got to knock all them out, as well as Lee Pulliam. 4 guests in 1 hour. Only we can do it on And the Winner Is Motorsports Show. We'll be right back right after this break.
The fever. Intense. NASCAR racing experience. The authentic racing experience. Packages start at just $329. Thrilling. Yeah! The rush. The NASCAR racing experience. Call 1-877-RACE-LAP today.
ETV Live, always pushing the bar just a little bit further, is proud to introduce ETV Live Radio, supported by the HD Radio Network. ETV Live Radio features classic rock every hour, every day. You can also catch live events such as Race Day broadcasts right from the booth. Open Paddock Live at 9:30 p.m. Tuesday nights. The Pit Report on Friday nights at 7 p.m. ETV Live Radio featured in the sports section of iTunes. Get the mobile app from TuneIn.com and look for us on Windows Media Guide. ETV Live Radio on the HD Radio Network.
Hey, welcome back to the September 24th edition of And the Winner Is Motorsports Show. We went to a quick commercial break. I'm Wesley Outland. The Racing Cowboys in the house. Justin Rose now. Justin, are you staying warm up in Michigan, dude? Because it got cold as hell in West Virginia Saturday night.
Don't laugh, Wesley. We actually got down to about 35 or so degrees here the other night, and they're calling for the highest temperature in the next 10 days to be 51 degrees a night. So we're expecting a lot of low 40s, high 30s temperatures the next couple nights.
That sucks. And the Racing Devil from Kannapolis, Mike Neff. And I know you like cold weather. Fat people like cold weather.
I hate cold weather. Hate it with a passion, which is why I don't live in the Midwest anymore. Now it is out. But honestly, I got a friend on Facebook, believe it or not, who said they actually had some snow about an hour north of Toronto yesterday.
We had snow on the security cameras on Saturday at Thunder Mountain. Keith Bowling kept playing with us saying.
That's crazy.
and you know what? J.D. Webb, our executive producer of ETV Live, I got to send a shout out to John Westling as well. They survived the 24 hours of Hanover just like I did. JD is telling everybody in the grandstands, everybody in the broadcast, how cold it is, and it's 80 degrees, and he's kicking back in the California sun. And
yeah, you know he's drinking a Chardonnay watching the sunset.
JD, that was just wrong, dude.
What do you mean it was wrong?
That's why he lives on the West Coast, dude.
Let's see. I'm sitting here in my short pants and no shirt today. It's still 86 degrees.
There, wait a minute.
I've got a margarita sitting on the desk, and I'm listening to And the Winner Is Motorsports Show. So what do you think?
What other better show in the country to listen to than that? Everything from race talk. And by the way, I just got a text message from Jackaroot, and Jackaroot says, Wesley, I'm on the way to the track. Let's take a rain check. We'll be on next Monday, so we'll go ahead and plan him on for next Monday. It is And the Winner Is Motorsports Show. We're going to go right back into our next guest, and let's cue up our 2012 NASCAR Wheeling All-American Series overall national champion, Lee Pulliam. He earned that.
Which I'm assuming means he's also the Virginia state champion, although I'm not positive of that.
Sure?
I should probably look that up.
Well, knowing you, you'll look it up.
Oh, you know I'll look it up.
Coming up, we've also got race results from around the country, too.
Yeah, because I actually got them this week. Got my lazy butt actually doing something.
8 pages of race results is what I was told by a text message.
Something in that neighborhood.
Definitely, definitely. So we're gonna give up Lee Pulliam a call here in just a moment and get him on the show.
He's a popular man tonight, by the way. He had a radio hit at 6:30. He has another one at 7:30, and he's fitting us in between.
Well, he's a good friend of ours, so we'll spend a couple of minutes with him, about 5 or 10
We will, and I have already finagled getting invited to the grand soiree in Charlotte in December when they hand out the hardware.
And you didn't even get me an invite. We couldn't do, and the winner is
ask him.
from Sharp.
I'm talking about from Lee's party. I ain't talking about the banquet. I already had the banquet secured, but I have now got the invite to the Pulliam Bash, so that's gonna be big.
We're gonna give Lee Pulliam a call here. He'll answer the phone. Last week he had the flu.
Yeah, said he was throwing up. They told him he really shouldn't have been racing last week, but he talked him into it. And then he went out and won both races just to cap off his season.
Hope he answers. 3 strikes.
I was going to say. Oh, wait a minute. I may have sent you the wrong freaking number.
Please leave your name and number.
Hang on. I gave you the wrong phone number, dang it.
Gave me the wrong number. You're fired, Mike.
Wrong number. I'm fired. Son of a gun. I forgot. He even told me to call you from a different number. Oh, how am I going to do this? I'll forward it.
Well, I'm waiting on getting this text from Mike Neff of the new number. Oh, there it is.
It's on the way right now. You got it.
Message parlor. Yeah, that was his voicemail.
We're all fired. Wow.
We're all fired. Good God.
At least it's the first time I've been fired. You've been fired every week.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike, JD's asking if that was your massage parlor.
No, that was Lee
Wow.
Pulliam's cell phone, and I believe the number he gave me is actually his house.
All right, well, give me that number via
I did.
our
I
message.
I texted it to you. Now you want me I get to get it over here. I can get there. Give me a second. Here I am.
I don't sit there. Look,
in the box.
we got
as we speak. Going down. There you go. Now you got it in multiple venues.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I apologize for that. I completely forgot he had sent that to me this afternoon after
Now,
he
if we get somebody harassing him, we know that it's not our fault. You're the one that put it in the message box.
Yeah. So when Justin calls and is trying to get Lee to send him autograph,
Give me a damn dinner ticket to the banquet.
No thanks, guys. Jeez.
yeah, I was already set for the banquet. I'm actually missing the IMIS show so that I can be at the banquet. Really bothers me that they plan that out and have those both on the same weekend. That's just dumb.
IMIS sucks anyway. It's all right.
I enjoyed IMIS a lot last year. It's the first time I'd ever been.
Lee Pulliam, going to try to get him on the show here real quick. Unless Mike gave me a false number again.
That's the number he gave me, so that's all I can do. As good as the information I'm given.
What did you say?
As good as the information I'm given. You know, garbage in, garbage out. That's how that whole deal works.
Absolutely.
Now I'm going to give him a hard time because he even sent me a text right before we called him to say, hey, not rushing in or anything, but...
Well, I give up. That's strike 2. He's got one more and he's out.
Sending him a text right now.
Dude, answer your phone.
Answer the phone.
He says every time I Google knothead, it comes up Wesley. JD, you know what, dude? That's just so uncalled for. Every time I look up sunburned people, I see JD Webb in California.
Every time I look up killer mustache, I see a picture of JD next to myself.
Dude.
Hey, don't knock that mustache. That mustache is epic, guys. I'm telling you.
That's what I just said. I said it's a killer mustache.
Looks like a damn bounty hunter is what I've told people. He looks like a bounty hunter. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Come get you.
Well, he's the baddest man from the West. He's JD Webb.
And he loves onions.
Bad boy, what you gonna do?
Oh, wow. Let's try to get in contact with somebody else while we're waiting on getting up with Lee Pulliam. But by the way, congratulations.
You want to try Brandon Shepard? I gave you his number.
I got it. Don't worry about sending it out. We don't need to send out so many of these national numbers to people when I get cussed out for it.
Do him next.
Oh, let's see here. Brandon Shepard, driver. Now, it's kind of an interesting story because Brandon Shepard is now driving the number 1 car, which actually Kid Rocket, or the Rocket Man they call him now, Josh Richards out of Shinston, West Virginia, drove for the longest time for his dad.
Right.
Now,
the Rocket chassis house.
Right. Now, I'm doing some checking on some stuff. Now, yes, it's true that Josh was moving on to an ARCA deal. But did you also hear the...
He was actually going to a NASCAR deal.
And a NASCAR deal. But did you also hear the behind-the-scenes story?
No, but I think you're going to tell me.
The behind-the-scenes story is that him and his dad kind of had a falling out with one another. A little family feud.
I thought I read that somewhere. I could have swore I heard Mark Richards, Josh's dad, had quite the falling out one night at a racetrack, I think, here last year, Wesley.
Yes, you're exactly right. As a matter of fact, I think it's the same race you're talking about, because if it was a World of Outlaws Series event, I want to say it was in Islip, New York, they had a big falling out. And the agreement was, look, you're going to finish out the rest of the year. You're going to try to win the championship, which was a no dice anyway, because Rick Eckert ended up winning anyway, because Richards cut down a tire. And
I was going to say, we mean it was a no dice. He cut down a tire coming out of turn 4 to take the white flag.
I know what I'm saying.
I mean, you make it sound like he got his ass kicked. He was a lap and about 100 yards from winning the championship.
Okay, he was an inch away from getting the title. He was a tire flat from getting the championship, if that'll make you happy, Mike.
Yeah.
But anyhow, there was a falling out, and there was words said between Josh and his father, and I'm not going to get all into it because we got Brandon Shepard on the line here next. But basically, there was words said between each other. There was a parting of ways mutually between family, and then whenever he wanted to come back and say, "Dad, put me in the car," his dad said, "Sorry, I've got Brandon Shepard. I've had my eye on him the last couple of years when he drove the number 5. He's my new front man." So there's always something that meets the eye behind all these stories.
It could be. Don't you remember when Lasowski got in a fight with his dad at Knoxville?
Yes.
That was on national television.
That's why family can't do business together.
Yeah, but they're still bad fast.
I'm sorry, but the person you called has a voicemail box that has
Brandon
not...
Shepard will not answer. Text Brandon and tell him to try to get... I'm telling you, I'm just like baseball. The postseason's around the corner, Justin Rhodes, now.
By the way, Lee Pulliam sent me a text that his phone has not rung.
His phone did ring.
It may have rung on your end. It did not ring on his end.
You all heard it. He's got a piece of crap service.
I'm telling you.
He's probably got Boost Mobile.
Maybe Mr.
Well, I was just going to say that. I got
down
Boost
at the
Mobile.
general store at the end of the road.
I was just going to say, guys, I got Boost Mobile, and that happens to me all the time.
Well, that's because you got Boost Mobile. That answered your question right there.
Try to call him back. We'll call him back. Everybody just calm down.
Make sure you use the number I sent you second, not the first one.
I'm trying. I'm going to call him. 336 number, right?
See, now everybody knows what zip code or area code he lives in, so they're going to be hunting him down.
That's all they got to try to figure out. They got a long way to go besides that. Coming on the show also, Brandon Shepard, if he'll answer his phone. And many, many other guests as well.
A cast of thousands.
A cast of thousands.
If not millions.
I'm calling Lee. He's not answering. Oh, well. It's ringing. You're hearing it.
I'm hearing it. Maybe it takes more rings.
You're so stupid.
Did it go to
Mike,
voicemail?
you've got to be
hang
absolutely
up
crazy.
Wow.
Did it go to voicemail or did you hang up on it?
Look, I'm going to try to call him on his cell phone now, if that's what you're saying is his cell. I'll try to call his cell again. I called the other number, and then this is his cell number I'm calling now.
Did it go to voicemail or did you just hang up on it?
I just let it ring for 40 seconds and hung up. I ain't going to wait forever. These guys, we line them up to be on the show.
He said he's sitting next to his phone. It has not rung.
Y'all hear it ringing.
I want to double check that number, Mike, now.
Hey, you free sleep, pull your motorsports.
Pull your motorsports. Answer your phone, League.
He's killing me.
Wow.
This really shouldn't be this hard.
JD Webb says, I'm 60-plus years old. I deal with kids on race broadcasts and radio shows. Why me? Wow.
That's stone cold, JD. That is just plain cold.
By the way, I want to remind you, everybody, tonight at 9:30, or 9 o'clock, actually, it's the RSR Full Throttle Cup Series. Me and Mike Rowe will be in the booth. Why the hell do I always call him Mike Rowe, man? I keep thinking of that.
Because you're a big fan of Dirty Jobs.
I love Dirtiest Jobs, and I love American Chopper, where he does the voiceover, and I love Deadliest Catch, and I love his Ford commercials also, even though I think a Ford sucks. No, Mike Keaton, the Batman. Mike Keaton and I will be in the booth at 9 o'clock for a sim race, Mike Neff, and you should join us from New Hampshire, because the sim race will probably be 10 times damn better than the real one was.
Didn't we just have this good discussion a week ago?
Oh, we'll have it every week, brother. Trust me.
I mean, seriously, Mike, I'm not going to try to knock you, but I'm going to tell you, everybody that's raced a real car that I know of has tried sim racing. They first thing out of their mouth, yeah, this ain't, the real thing.
Oh, my God,
but
here we go.
They have so much fun doing it. I mean, it really keeps their skills sharp. And I've just had that discussion here last night with a few of the drivers here on the ETV Live Sim Broadcasting Network last night with the Sim Pro race. But, a lot of them guys, they love this sim racing. They can't get enough of it. And I guarantee you, if I could put a wheel in front of you, Mike, I'm not guaranteeing I'll change your opinion, but you might, maybe find a newfound respect for it.
I've done it.
It's too late.
I told Wesley I did it. They have every year at the media tour, they have iRacing set up. I raced next to Juan Pablo Montoya at Charlotte and beat him. And that tells you exactly all you need to know. The fact that my fat rear end can beat Juan Montoya driving anything tells you how unrealistic it is.
You can't beat him driving a Todd truck.
Well, you have to figure, the iRacing, setups, they're really not the best. You got to kind of make your own, so, I mean.
Hey, wait a minute. This just in from NASCAR. Word is that Todd is going to sponsor Juan Pablo Montoya in 2013.
They keep talking about it. I don't think it's
I'm calling.
Although it wouldn't surprise me. I think it'd be an ideal setup. Just like I'll never understand why Remington or Winchester never sponsored Buckshot Jones.
Wait a second.
That was the
Hey,
ultimate.
Lee Pulliam, are you there?
I'm here.
Oh, he's there. Okay, yay! Lee Pulliam is on the show finally.
Hey, Wesley finally dialed the right number.
Mike, shut up, Mike. He texted me the right number. Mike Neff, I'll let you do the introduction, please. Go ahead and use your famous.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, live from somewhere in the sticks of Virginia, your 2012 Whelen All-American National Champion with 22 wins, 794 total points, Lee Pulliam. Congratulations, brother. How does it feel to have come back from where you were at the end of last season to now sitting on top of the mountain?
It's extremely humbling to look back on the season and look at what all took place and what all we accomplished in such a short period of time, and what all we went through last year over a mistake I made. It was really, really neat to look back and just take it all in, what all went through on this year and this season, and how many wins we had, and so short of a span, and it really just sends chills up my back.
But you know what, though? You're a guy that paid your dues. You learned your lesson. And, dude, you came back in 2012 and you kicked ass. And you were behind schedule. I mean, you could not get back behind the wheel of a race car until May the 1st when NASCAR reinstated you. And then you just went on a tear. I mean, was that the whole game plan, was just, look, when we get back behind the wheel of this car, we're going to make everybody know about the blue and silver #1 team?
Yeah, no, definitely. It definitely motivated us. We sat there during the whole season, and man, it was mighty painful sitting there watching those races. I went to the big race at Sobo, and it was terrible being on the sidelines. It was definitely one of the most painful things I've ever done, and it put a lot of fire in me to do everything it took to win races and to give it 110% every time, every lap of the race. it just really made us more fierce and more competitive, and really enjoyed the wins even more than what I've ever enjoyed them.
Justin?
Not to mention,
or Mike? Somebody?
You guys had to be ready to come out of the gate because you were driving Winston crazy. Winston's his crew chief, by the way. The whole time that you weren't able to race, he said you're about ready to drive him nuts, so he had to make sure he had the cars ready so you didn't have a chance to whine once you did get back to the track.
Yeah, we worked extremely hard. Everybody put a lot of time in the shop and, put a lot of effort into it. These things go through his mind all the time, my mind. I'll constantly thinking of ways to make your cars better, and we both sit down and talk about it, and we come up with a game plan. And every week, he'll have ideas that are good, and I'll have ideas that are good, and we'll both have ideas that neither one of us like, and we just kind of sort through it all and come up with a game plan and do what we think will be best to help us and to make a car move forward. And everybody just works extremely hard and tries to work methodical and just do one thing at a time.
I'm glad you're back with us this Monday night because I know you had the flu last weekend. That kind of sucks being sick, and then you get the call from NASCAR, hey, by the way, you're the Whelen All-American National Champion.
Yeah, that was it was a heck of a phone call, but I mean, I was extremely tough shape, and Saturday at the racetrack, they almost didn't let me start the race. I was just really dizzy and had to just kind of sit down for a while, and was just really feeling under the weather, and finally got it off her back, and feeling a lot better this week, and been able to enjoy it a little more.
Hey, if there's anybody that's got any questions for any of our guests, like who we just had on earlier, Kyle Strickler, or now NASCAR Whelen All-American National Champion Lee Pulliam, just put them in the chat box. We'll pass them along and get them answered for you.
Now, Lee, I got a question. You talk about making your cars better. After tearing the front end completely off the car just about at Caraway in that crazy debacle of a race that happened over there.
I was going to ask about that, Mike.
Is the car actually even better now than it was when you tore it up? Because from what I hear, it seems to be driving even better than it did before you ripped the front off of it.
It really is. Everybody put a lot of effort. I got to thank JRI Shots, Kowalski Racing Engines, Hitchcock Race Cars. Everybody put a lot of effort into this deal. And, the last race at Motor Mile was probably the most dominant race car I've ever been in or probably ever seen at the racetrack. I mean, it was, I was sick as a dog and we're still warm out. I mean, that thing was really good. And just really excited about Martinsville because I think we found a lot of gains the last couple of weeks of the season. We went a couple of weeks without winning there, but just kind of had some bad luck and finally got it brushed off. And, man, the last race at Motor Mile, that thing was really good on a rail and just gave us a lot of momentum hitting into Martinsville.
Can I ask you a question, Lee? And if you say, Wesley, no comment, shut up, I'll totally agree, and I won't say anything else. But what was that whole debacle between you and Ryan Wilson and Caraway Speedway and everything that happened from that Saturday night that got rained out and it ended up becoming a Sunday night nobody will ever forget in Sophia, North Carolina?
Yeah, the race, the first race, we ended up winning right there at the very end, and didn't really have that great of a race car. It was pretty decent, and we snuck the win out after a late restart. And the second race of the night, when we started the back, made some adjustments, and the car was really good. And kind of methodically worked our way through the field, and got black flag for we're still not sure what on a restart, and went to the rear of the field, had to do a stop and go, and got back out there and had a couple cautions, and then it was all crazy with people wrecking in front of us, around us, and finally I think we passed the top 5 cars about 18 times and kept putting us back, and I mean it was just it was a big goal, a mess pretty much, but we finally got up there to the front row and nobody took it outside on a restart, and I jumped up there, and me and Ryan raced really hard, and I mean he's just hungry for a win. I didn't really appreciate it. He stuck me in the fence coming out of turn 2 was the problem I had, and that's basically what ripped the nose off the car and the fenders. But when we were racing back to the white flag, he was just going to slow my momentum down that I had on the bottom, and he turned left a little bit and just hit the wheel just right and knocked the wheel to the left and hit the fence head on. So it was a pretty freak deal. I don't think he was intending on wrecking me. He was intending on rubbing and racing hard. And
right.
It just all got a little bit out of hand.
And then all hell broke loose.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. But in the end, the song by Queen is going off in your head. We are the champions, my friend. We'll keep on fighting to the end, but it doesn't matter anymore because I've got the championship, and I am the dude, it's a feel-good story. I mean, NASCAR does all of these special documentaries on guys and their struggles and every damn thing else. They should do something on you because look at where you came from last year to where you've come now. It's impressive. And you only had May, June, July, August, 5 months to do it. You were behind the 8 ball on everybody else in the country running late models, and you won the championship. Big kudos to you, man. Big kudos.
Thank you.
Justin Rose now got a question for our Whelen All-American champion, Lee Pulliam.
Yeah, dude, and this is tying into what you just alluded to, Wesley, and what was brought up before. Lee, I know it's got to be really, really tough having to sit out after, that incident last year at South Boston, but to tell everybody just what it's like mentally to have to sit out that time period, collect yourself, and use that as fuel for your motivation to go out and do what you did this year in winning the championship this year for the Whelen All-American Series.
I think everything in life, you can take two roads on it. You can learn something positive from it, or you can be hard-headed and just keep going down the road your own. And I just used that mistake as a learning lesson. I think success comes from good decisions, and good decisions come from mistakes. And you have to take that and learn from things that you do wrong, and empower yourself to make up for it over time. And I had a lot to prove and a lot to accomplish this year that I thought that we really needed to improve my image there after that, and it was just a lot of motivation. That wasn't who I was, and just lost composure there one night after several events had taken place, and it was very agonizing sitting on the sidelines to talk about that part of it. I was there at the big race at Sobo, and man, I wanted to be trading paint for $10,000, and I couldn't. I was on the sidelines, and it was probably one of the most painful things I've ever been through, really. And it's something that I love to do, and when you take something that you love away, it's really tough.
Our executive producer from California, J.D. Webb, has a question for Lee Pulliam from Samora, North Carolina.
Hey, Lee, same question I was asking Kyle here just a little bit ago. The rules, NASCAR. I mean, I've been a racing fan for a lot of years, but I'm slowly becoming a dirt late model, what have you fan. I'm just not the biggest NASCAR fan as I used to be since Winston Cup went south, but the rules seem to be changing in NASCAR and really making it tough for these guys to compete like race car drivers, like the old days, the Cale Yarboroughs and Richard Petty's and whatnot from yesteryear. Rules. It seems to be affecting the NASCAR side of the house. What about the division that you run in? Are the rules tough to get around? Are they making it more difficult for drivers to compete out on the track?
Yeah, NASCAR has evolved so much and has changed so much that you have to keep on going with their ways or get out. And the sport's just evolved and everything's a lot more political these days, and it kind of the knockout drag out stuff that used to go on. The big no these days, and you have to be on your P's and Q's, but at the same time you have to have fire, and when you have fire, it brings the best and the worst of emotions out of people, and it's a really tough spot to be in, and you have to really discipline yourself and really be on your top of your game mentally and physically.
Absolutely, definitely. Well, I got another question to ask you. Philip Morris, the guy that you got into it with, he finally got back behind the wheel of a late model car at Motor Mile, and what was your first thoughts when you pulled into the gate at Motor Mall and you saw Philip Morris back behind the wheel racing the car again in the late model division. You're trying to run for a national championship. What was going through your head? And I know that there was a couple of, that you guys banged fenders there a couple of times on the racetrack also when y'all met each other out there.
Yeah, we raced just really hard. We actually first met up at South Boston the week before that.
Okay.
And had kind of a barn burner, and we ended up thrashed at Caraway and thrashed all week to get the race car ready, and I ended up qualifying third, and got the lead from Jeb, and ended up winning the race, and Philip finished second. And back to the next race, and me and Philip raced 20 laps side by side at South Boston for the win, and we were beating and banging and trading paint. The W again. I think that put a little fire in Philip, so he come to Motor Mile the next week and worked really hard and had his hot rod good and ready, and we put on a heck of a show for everybody and raced extremely hard and traded a little paint, tried to give each other some room, but at the same time, we had to both race hard for the win, and had a little contact there, and went around and come back from the rear, and we come back to third, and he got the W, but extremely hard racing both nights.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, man, we got to let you go, but, man, I know you got another radio interview lined up at 7:30, but I got one question to ask you. I've known you for a long time. I've done interviews with you. I've done announcing races and had you on the microphone. Why in the hell do you give a ticket to Mike Neff to the banquet dinner and you don't give me one?
Well, we can hook you up.
Not to the banquet. Do I have to go over this again? I already got the banquet ticket. It's the after party that I'm going.
I want to go to the damn after party, okay? I want to drink a Heineken with Lee Pulliam.
Heineken, nothing. We're doing shots.
Well, you just have to tag along with Mike. I think you got a ticket for two.
Absolutely. There we go. All right. There we go. Hey, buddy, before we let you go, throw out your sponsors on your car, man.
Yeah, I got to thank Kowalski Racing Engines, Hitchcock Race Cars, JRI Shocks, iBox Springs, HR Ramsey Construction, Crowder Law Office, Olive Hill Welding, Pulliam Logging, Nails Ignition, everybody that's a part of this deal. It's a total team effort.
Absolutely. Lee, congratulations, my friend. God bless you, and we'll see you at the party because I'm coming with Mike.
Sounds good.
All right, we're going to party our tails off. That's Lee Pulliam, 2012 NASCAR Will and All-American Series champion. Now, what does he get? His car is put at the banquet. They honor him at the banquet ceremony. Was it $25,000 he gets for being the national champion?
I believe so.
Regional, he goes amongst all the regional people, the NASCAR board of directors and everything else, and stuff like that. I just have to say before we close this subject that, Mike, we've had Lee on several times this year, but he's really changed.
Oh, he did. There's no question. After
I was at Martinsville last year talking to him for the big race coming up.
Yeah, he has. I don't really want to say matured because I don't know that that's necessarily accurate, but he's gained perspective, I think is a good way to say it. And racing's a passion, and you have to have passion to do well at it, but you can't let the passion consume you. And there was a point there at the end of last year where I think the passion consumed him, and it ended up making it a really tough lesson for him to learn. But in the long run, I am willing to bet that that's a good reason why he won a national championship. That and Philip Morris didn't run all year.
Right.
That sure didn't hurt things.
Yeah, true. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we are going to have on Brandon Sheppard on the show. Was you able to get with him?
He has not responded, so I think we need to do Johnny Van Doren because I told Johnny we'd be on about 7:30, so we're touchback.
Let's just try to call here Sheppard real quick, and if we can, we'll see if we can get him on and knock him out of the way. But after that, I hit the button first too quickly. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll try to hook up with Brandon Sheppard. If not, Johnny Van Doren, winner of the Winchester 100 for the ARCA CRA Super Series. We'll be right back on And the Winner Is.
The Pit Report, featured every Friday night at 7 p.m. live on ETV Live Radio. Join Dakota Ehrman and J.D. Webb for weekly race recaps, driver interviews, and updates. unabridged, uncensored, and no knotheads, cowboy. The Pit Report, live on ETV Live Radio, 7 p.m. every Friday night. Hey, JD with ETV Live Radio, your source for online autosports entertainment. Tune in every Monday night at 6 p.m. for 2 hours of And the Winner Is Motorsports Show with Wesley Outland from the Fast Track Racing Series and Michael Neff. They bring you the down-home local asphalt and dirt track racing from go-karts that go fast, late model, and everything in between. Local results, interviews, and more. ETV Live Radio. Look for us on iTunes, TuneIn Radio, and Windows Media Guide. You can also find us at etv-eplay.net.
Shortway Real Estate Incorporated, conveniently located off of intersection I-81 and I-77 in Wytheville, Virginia. Services all of Southwest Virginia in residential, farms, recreational, and commercial properties. The company is owned by Jason and Judy Short. Judy has been in the real estate market for over 15 years and is the broker of Shortway Real Estate. And they have 2 of the top agents in Southwest Virginia. Their goal is simple: to provide the best customer service and build business on repeat clients. You can get pre-approvals in less than 20 minutes. They have many properties located on over 300 websites nationwide. You can call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for customer service guaranteed. And guess what? Licensed in Virginia, they can show you any property listed in the Commonwealth state. They're located at 1205 East Main Street in Wytheville, Virginia. For more details, call 276-223-4018. That's 276-223-4018. Shortway Real Estate Incorporated, reminding you, take the short way home. Hey, welcome back to And the Winner Is Motorsports Show. I am Wesley Outland, the
ringmaster of motorsports.
If we're going to do that, we should just wait your turn.
We got to start working that better. You know how like Mike and Mike do.
Okay, let's start over again. Hey, welcome back to And the Winner Is Motorsports Show. I am Wesley Outland,
the ringmaster of motorsports.
And joining me from Kannapolis, North Carolina is the Racing Devil. I messed that up. See, and we got I'm thinking Racing Cowboy for Justin Rose now. I like the cowboy hat.
Racing.
Well, let's have the let's let the fans try to pick a good nickname for that.
There you go. Have the fans come up with a name.
Maybe you not want to do that.
I'm liking Goat Roper, but that's just me.
The Goat Roper.
That's because you don't like sim racing, Mike.
Well, there might be some truth to that. I don't know.
Have a Royal Rumble on And the Winner.
And I still am not saying I don't like sim racing. Y'all keep confusing this. I never said I don't like sim racing. I said it's not real racing. And that's the whole problem. Y'all get this line blurred between sim racing and real racing, and that's the problem.
Here we go again.
We got time for this. We got 3 more guests to get on in 17 minutes.
I give up on Brandon Shepherd. He's got one more time, and that's it. He's off.
That's fine.
Let's try to call him back one more time. That's it. You can listen to the sounds of
one ringy dingy
on And the Winner Is. Lee Pulliam has stuff going on. That's why he would answer his phone.
Telephone. I don't think so. He told me he was sitting right there next to it, and it never rang. Now, I don't know how that works. Using, modern technology and all. Whatever the case may be.
Oh, well, Brandon.
Again, he's out in the sticks in Virginia. Like we said, Mr. Ziffel probably has to cross the wires right at the general store down at the end of the road.
Mr. Ziffel? You're so stupid.
I'm just saying, man. Where he lives, what town does he live in Virginia?
Who?
I can't remember. Lee Pulliam.
Lee Pulliam lives in Samoa, North Carolina. Samoa, North Carolina.
I thought he was in Virginia.
No, he lives in Samoa, North Carolina.
Well, like I said, that's right up there with 3 stumps and a stick. Wherever
I was just going to say East Middle of nowhere.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It's a suburb of 3 oaks and a stump.
You're very funny. You know that? Very, very funny. Oh, Kyle Larson. Let's get Kyle Larson on the show.
Okay.
I want to talk to Kyle. Spend a couple minutes.
I do, too. I want to know what it felt like to roll down a backstretch, come to a stop, and think you're done flipping, only to have some knucklehead run into you.
Reminds me of Cars when the guy has that T-Rex. He says, "Ah!"
You know, I was sitting there watching the wreck, guys, and I honestly thought if he'd have rotated probably 15 degrees more, we may not have a Kyle Larson to interview.
He could have died and had a whole thing easy.
What's the video at for that wreck?
I found it on YouTube. Eldora Speedway posted it up there, I think, yesterday, probably about dinner time.
Yeah, Kyle actually tweeted it from the hospital.
Yeah.
So you got to give him props for that.
Justin, do something with your mic, buddy. It's hot again. Let's go to the line.
Buzzing.
Kyle Larson is on the program. Kyle, you won the NASCAR K&N E-Series event at New Hampshire. You won the midgets part of the events at Eldora Speedway for the 4-Crown USAC Nationals. And
crossing the finish line, basically on fire.
Yeah, crossing the line on fire. So I'm thinking your new nickname should be the Fireman, Kyle Larson. And then you had that crazy wreck. Talk about the eventful weekend you had in motorsports.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of fun. I got to, win the race at Loudon and then hop on Tony Stewart's jet and fly to Eldora and participate in the 4-Crown. Then, went really good. I qualified on the pole for the 4-Crown car and then won the midget race, and then all kind of took a turn from there. And when I wrecked in the sprint car, and then couldn't race the 4-Crown race just because I didn't feel like I was 100%. So sat that out. But yeah, had to go to the hospital too after. So yeah, an eventful day that I'll probably never forget.
Absolutely, definitely. Mike, recap everybody what happened if they didn't know what happened on Saturday night to Kyle Larson.
Yeah, I mean, basically Kyle started in the midget race in the 9th spot, came plowing through the field, carving them up, got to the lead, was whipping everybody's rear end, proceeded to come out of turn 4 to take the checkered flag, and a giant plume of smoke engulfed him, but he was still far enough ahead and going fast enough to coast across the start-finish line and get the win, which I believe they said makes you 5th all-time in 4-Crown wins. Then went out in the sprint car race, and I from what I've seen and heard, nobody really knows how it happened that you kind of got bicycled up in turn 2, climbed the wall and flipped down the backstretch, and then somebody plowed into you, which was the scariest part of that whole deal. I'm just glad you ended up making it out alive.
Yeah, there was a little bit of a hole getting into one, and I caught it wrong and started bouncing and got into the wall, and I was just turning over really slowly. It was going to be an easy flip, and then Mitch Wismiller had nowhere to go and plowed into me, and from there it was a pretty big wreck. So just thankfully everything held up, and wasn't any worse than what it was. So yeah, just really lucky.
Now, how cool is it getting to ride on Stewart's jet? Let's talk about something fun.
Yeah, it was cool. I've ridden on a jet once before, but yeah, it was cool to actually do it and get to go race that night. And yeah, I don't know. I fly on planes a lot, so it's I guess nothing too special, but it was cool that he did that for me and made the whole night possible, because without him, I've been stuck in New Hampshire waiting for my flight to leave the next day.
I hear that. Now, did you ride with him?
Yeah.
Going to Eldora?
No, he didn't go. He stayed in New Hampshire that night, so it was just me and the pilots on there.
I cannot believe
nice.
Stewart. I cannot believe that Tony did not get back to Eldora to drive one of them sprint cars or midgets, man. He loves those things.
Yeah, he hasn't ran a midget in a long time. He made a start earlier this year in a non-link sprint car at Terre Haute, but they're a little dangerous, so I think he tries to stick to wing racing now.
Now, you were actually supposed to drive his Silver Crown car, and I actually had it sitting on the pole before that accident, right? You were going to be the one leading him to the green for the Silver Crown race, right?
Yeah, I had just made it there in time to hot lap and qualify the Silver Crown car, and yeah, I got quick time and was going to start on the pole, but like I said, I didn't feel like I was 100%. I was pretty sore and had a headache, so I didn't want to go risk anymore by running the Silver Crown car. I think I could have done it, but if I was to wreck again, it probably would have.
John Wesling, our producer, is actually showing a replay of the wreck. And John, if you can flash it back to replay one more time to where it happened, just recapping, what was going through your head, Kyle, when you went down in to turn number 1? Because it looks like you started to have the problems right there in turn 1. And John, if you can replay it again, buddy. It looked like your problem started between 1 and 2. Did something break on the car, which then caused the incident? What's going through your head as this happened? Okay, you go down into turn 1, you get up into the wall, into the fence, and then you barrel roll, and then another guy hits on top of you. Oh, man, thank the good Lord above, Kyle, you're okay, man. But what was going through your head when that happened?
Well, yeah, I caught that hole wrong, and it started bouncing. I don't think anything broke. I just screwed up and hit the hole wrong, and when it was bouncing, I was just trying to keep it off the wall, and then once I was in the wall, kind of along the ride. So, but I wasn't expecting anybody to come in there and hit me, but he did. But there's nothing I could do about it. So nothing he can do about it either. So just unlucky, but lucky at the same time that nothing really serious happened to me or him.
Just
now, when you were upside down, did you see him coming?
No, I didn't see him coming. I felt a big hit, so I figured I got hit, but I wasn't sure where I got hit in the car, but until I saw the video, which made it seem a lot worse than what I thought it was originally.
Justin Rose, now you got any question for Kyle Larson?
Yep, I just got one from one of your biggest fans, Kyle Rudy Cool from Cincinnati, Ohio. He sent me in a question saying that he wants to know if you have an opportunity this year to run any more Indiana or USAC, maybe even local shows at places like Lawrenceburg or Terre Haute or anywhere there in the state of Indiana for the rest of this year. And he wants to know if you have time to hit the Chili Bowl this year.
Heck, they're about finished, aren't they?
I don't think I'll be in Indiana racing much nominating anymore. I think next week they have a big race at Lawrenceburg, and this week and coming up there's a big race at Lawrenceburg, and I'll be at Dover in the K&N car, and then when they have that Silver Crown race at Terre Haute, I think I'm in California racing the wing sprint car. So no more stuff for me in Indiana that I know of right now, but I had a lot of fun racing in Indy this year.
Racing a sprint car, a Silver Crown midget car, a K&N NASCAR stock car, what are the comparisons and what are the differences of the two? How can you adapt to racing a late model car, which is the K&N East car that you won at New Hampshire on Saturday, and then hitch a flight, fly to Eldor, and then get behind the wheel of an open wheel midget car? How do you adapt?
I don't know. I do it so much that it's I don't know if it's easy, but I'm used to what I got to do as a driver to adapt whenever I hop in different cars. But right. I think at first when I started doing this stuff last year, I mean no stock cars, but like between the non-wing sprint cars and wing sprint cars and midgets and all that, it took me a little bit, but I mean it seems like I'm in a different type of car each day now, so kind of used to what I got to do to get back used to things.
We're going to have to start calling this show, and the winner is with the Four Horsemen, Mike Neff, Justin Rogers, now Wesley Outland, and now J.D. Webb. Our executive producer's got a question for you, Kyle Larson.
Hey, Kyle, and the winner is Motorsports Show. This is a place where we ask questions that nobody else asks. One thing that I haven't heard been brought up yet, it took Dale Earnhardt to really bring out the safety aspect of racing and to the public eye, and maybe even for NASCAR to finally get off their butt and do something about it. I mean, you're traveling around a track 180, 190, 200 miles an hour with very little between you, the pavement, and the wall, and everything else. When it comes to sprint car racing, midget car racing, you're basically straddling a motor and transmission hooked up to a couple of wheels and a steering wheel. What kind of safety items are available to you, and what does it take, or if it happened in the past, what did it take? Was it an event like Dale Earnhardt to finally bring safety to midget car racing?
No, I don't think. Well, I think it obviously the stuff that happened with Dale probably helped the open wheel stuff also. But there's been a lot of people that have wrecked in open wheel stuff, and seats have come a long way. I use the Butler built seats now. They're Sprint Advantage seats, and they're really protective. I have a seat insert also in that protects my lower back, and there's a lot of stuff that's different than it was 5 to 10 years ago. The helmets are a lot safer. The head and neck restraints are a lot safer. I use an Arai helmet and the Safety Solutions hybrid, so I'm pretty safe in there. So stuff's come a long way in the past.
Now,
people don't realize, Justin, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. People do not realize you are more safer. Justin, you can jump in here now also. You're more safer. This is no lie. Even though motorsports is what many people say, which I think is BS, the most dangerous sport in America, the bottom line is things is going to happen. You're going to see the incidents like what happened with Kyle Larson flipping and another guy hitting him. And it's been a very long time since we've seen a fatality in motorsports, at least in this level. But I'm going to tell you this, and this is the God's honest truth. All of the listeners out there, you are more safer, Justin Rose, now in a race car than you are in your own personal vehicle nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, when you're in your street car, you only have that one strap that's over you and no helmet or no head and neck restraint. So, yeah, it's a lot safer, I think, in the race car.
Okay, Justin, go ahead, but I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry about the static here, Kyle, but I just wanted to know, with the incident that happened with Shane Meal and your incident at Eldora, has there been any talk by any of the chassis manufacturers of possibly doing something with that halo area in the chassis to try to strengthen that to keep that from folding down on you guys?
I haven't heard a whole lot, but since Shane's wrecked, there's been a lot of Silver Crown cars that have added an extra brace around the cockpit area to make it a little bit stronger. And luckily nobody's really wrecked to prove if it's better or not. Which I think it's better. I can't really describe how it is, but it goes from like the kind of behind you and angles up to the front of the halo. I think it just makes it stronger, but. Yeah, I think racing's come a long way, like I said.
Well, I would like to retract my statement a moment ago, and I do apologize, and I'm not going to mention any of the names of the drivers that have passed away. But what I was referring to was about NASCAR and about dirt late models, because I focus more on the dirt late models than the sprint cars. But I do know the sprint cars and the midgets are a lot more dangerous than the than the other cars are, the full body stock cars. But I do understand, according to some one of my colleagues let me know, informing me that we have lost 3 drivers this year, and one was in a wing sprint car. But Kyle, you and I both know racing's racing. Anything can happen at any given moment, and fatalities can happen in motorsports. But we can say that the safety has been taken the bar to another level to prevent things like this happening, thus you being able to do what you do behind the wheel of a race car and have a great racing career.
Yeah, I think if a wreck like mine would happen 10 years ago, the results would have been a lot different. So I'm just thankful I got people like Jeannie and Ryan Butler and everybody at Arai helmets and Safety Solutions have developed their stuff and make us drivers safer in the cars.
What is your favorite track on the tour? Wherever you you travel all over in different things, but what is your favorite racetrack? And by the way, we've tried for the last month to get you on here. Thank you for.
And you can say Millbridge. There's no shame in it.
You could say Millbridge. Oh, wow.
There's a track in Central California, in Tulare, California, the Thunderbolt Speedway or Raceway, whatever. That it's definitely my favorite racetrack. You run right on the wall all night long, and the racing's great, especially for wing sprint cars. So I'd have to say that's probably my favorite track.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, Kyle, buddy, before we let you go, man, thank you so much for being on the program, being our final guest, spending the last 15 or so minutes with us. And before we let you go, thank all your sponsors, the people that got you to Victory Lane over the weekend, and the K&N NASCAR race in New Hampshire, and the race that you won at to a fiery finish at Eldora. And man, just thank the good Lord above you're standing in okay after that wreck that you had there with the midget.
Yeah, on the stock car stuff, I got to thank Rev Racing and Toyota and K&N and all the supporters. There's a bunch of supporters that help out and with bits and pieces. And in the midget, also Toyota and Butler Built and Avery Vineyards and gotta thank Tony Stewart for making the whole day possible and all his sponsors with Chevy and he's got a bunch of sponsors. So and Hoffman Racing, all those guys over there for making the whole night possible.
Definitely. Kyle Larson, buddy, thank you so much, man. We got to get off the air. Kyle Larson again. Oh, wow, what a great show. Mike Neff, thank you. Justin Rose now as well. You guys take care.
You too, Wesley.
Mike Neff, you rock.
Now it's time for And the Winner is Motorsports Show, a production of the ETV Live Auto Sports